notion that there's different types of liberty. If you talk about speech, you talk about political speech and commercial speech. Commercial speech you're allowed to regulate, but political speech you're not supposed to. Some people protect personal liberties, others protect economic liberties. It's one and the same because we're individuals. We're born with our right to life and right to liberty. We are born with our liberty. Those liberties come from our Creator or in the natural way. When government takes over to do these things that we're supposed to do for ourselves, they can't do it without undermining your personal liberty.
Right.
What we need is a concept that liberty is individual. This is why I object to talking about people in a collective way.
Yes. You
have liberties because you belong to this group. In this group, you don't have the liberties for that person, but you never should punish a group because they belong to a group. Right. We should recognize the individuality of people. The other great thing about a freedom movement is it's based on nonviolence. You can't use violence to have your way, and the government shouldn't either. Yeah. But the other thing is, for it to work, and I was challenged there tonight, you have to be tolerant of other people and how they live. You can object to it, you can not participate in it, you can teach your children, but you shouldn't be in the position where you say, I know what's best for you and I know how you're supposed to live. People who do things that they don't like. We do it pretty well with religion, except sometimes they want to blame the Islamic religion completely and totally instead of the few radical Islamists for their problems. So you can't give blanket accusations, and we shouldn't punish and we shouldn't reward people because they belong to a group. We deserve our liberties because we're an individual deserving that right, and that should be the purpose of government. We can close right now. I can close tonight by saying that I continue to be encouraged. Discouraged when I'm in Washington. I see the problems and the difficulty. It's disgusting about what's going on with these wars. Today, though, we've introduced legislation. There were 7 Republicans and 7 Democrats on the purpose of making it, bipartisan, and that is to force the administration to devise a plan to start coming home from Afghanistan. That's right. We see a lot of people who still think in leadership in both parties in Washington. They still support a lot of all this militarism and protecting our interests overseas. And one problem that we face, and I'm sure most of you understand this, is that the leadership and the parties seem to endorse those principles that we ascribe to. That is, both parties endorse foreign intervention. Both parties endorse the Federal Reserve. Both parties endorse entitlement system. Both parties don't care about us as individuals. So therefore, it is important to break loose from that, and we don't have to compromise in any way. I believe we have to stand firm, but I do believe that you can work with people. So if I can find 7 other Democrats and 7 Republicans can work together because they absolutely believe on principle and agree with us on that, we must do it. This is the exciting thing about the monetary issue. Nobody's addressed this before. We're making fantastic progress because of the work that we have done in government. Last go around, audit the Fed bill did get passed in the House. We had a lot of Democrats supporting it. Transparency is a good term to use both for Republicans and Democrats. We need a lot more transparency to know how they passed out those trillions of dollars to everybody.
Yeah, that's
believe
right.
me, I have a position now that's slightly better than it has been before in the subcommittee, and I will be doing my darndest to find out exactly what they've been doing for all these years. I think it's called the internet or something like that. And because of the the education that's been going on and the determination and the growth of the numbers of people who are interested. It's just fantastic. So as long as I see that growth, I'm not going to be discouraged. So I'm going to do my very best, and I encourage you to take the responsibility upon yourself, because every one of us, you have more responsibility than anybody else. The majority of the people in all societies never get interested in issues. It's a small number of people who have to spread the word and lead the charge. So you have a responsibility, and don't ask me what you're supposed to do, because you got to figure it out. If you're prepared, and know the answer, somebody will use you. There will be a job, and there will be something to do, because each and every one of us has that responsibility. I want to thank you very much for coming and hanging around tonight. I love being with you here.
With that in mind, we're going to be passing out the straw poll ballot, so make sure you stick around. We've got just a couple more good speakers to wrap up the evening for us. So make sure you vote, and we'll have the results at the end.
Audit the Fed! Audit the Federal Reserve!